Hello, I'm Marion. This is Book Zealots. So, if you looked at the title of the video, you already know what this video is about. Thank you for dropping in. I have a lot more books that I have saved than I thought. How did that happen? Wow, I'm kind of surprised, and I think I might have to go through these and really decide, am I ever going to reread these? Do you see all of this? I think that's called ASMR or something. I know that's going around. Okay, so I'll try and go through these quickly. I don't know if I'm going to talk about the books that I've read and that I've kept, but I did keep them with one, either the intention of rereading them, or two, have kept them for the knowledge that they contain. So I'm going to start with the one at the top in no particular order except for the last 5 that I've held on to the longest. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, Ella Minnow P by Mark Dunn. Clever book, very clever. Then I think some of you might remember I read this, Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America by Annie Jacobson. Blood and Treasure, Daniel Boone and the Fight for America's First Frontier by Bob Drury and Tom Clavin. And then I've got a couple of David McCullough books. David McCullough's John Adams, 1776. Oddly enough, this is the first of his books that I finished, but this is the first book of his that I started. It was for a book club in Huntington Beach, and wow. The Great Bridge, Johnstown Flood, and that's it for McCullough. I thought I read one more by McCullough. Oh, I have, but I didn't keep it. Okay, then we have the pile of Jane Austen, and we have Jane Austen July. Are you participating? Leave a comment down below, let me know. Northanger Abbey, and I think I've read the Watsons in this, so I have not read Lady Susan or Sanditon, which is why I've saved this book, because I've not finished reading it. And Northanger Abbey, my favorite, because has normal age range for the romance interest, and funny. This one was funny. Anyway, and then Emma. Okay, Emma. I get creepy vibes from Mr. Knightley. Sorry, too much of a father figure. Sense and Sensibility, Mansfield Park, and Persuasion. I know everybody loves The Letter, and that's why I hate this book, is because of that letter. And I do have, all of these are the annotated versions by David M. Shepard, I think, and then Pride and Prejudice. Then I will start with this box that's over here by my side. Okay, so I have, oh, that was bad. My Jane Austen books fell. Hang on. I have an emergency. Okay, now that I've taken care of that catastrophe, sorry for that. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I read this for a book club, and it was the first time that I had read a book where death was the narrator, and I thought that was really fascinating. And then I wanted Prometheus to read it. I don't think he's read it yet. And then I think I've read another book by Zusak, but I unhauled it. So Rebel Yell by S.C. Gwynn. This is the first book that I've read about Stonewall Jackson. I thought it was really well done, so saving that. For Prometheus, John Quincy Adams by Harlow Giles Unger. I loved this book. I laughed so many times. I liked this the way that this man was portrayed was, I liked him. Okay, so I was going to mention this book, Valiant Ambition, George Washington, Benedict Arnold, and The Fate of the American Revolution by Nathaniel Philbrick. Nathaniel Philbrick is a very good author. I don't think I've ever read anything by him that I haven't liked, although I haven't finished Mayflower. So I need to get on that. Then we have All the I can talk. All the Gallant Men by Donald Stratton, the first memoir by a USS Arizona survivor. I loved this. It was raw. It was authentic. It was a really good book. But I'm also saving this for Prometheus because he wants to read this. Then I have Legends, Bill O'Reilly's Legends and Lies, The Patriots. I DNF'd his, no, I don't think I DNF'd it. His Civil War book I read, and I don't know if I gave it to Prometheus or if we sold it. This one was better. The other one, not so much. This is actually Prometheus's, and there we go. Area 51 by Annie Jacobson. And The Pentagon's Brain. I'm sorry if this isn't coming out very well. This is the red writing. How about this? And Bloody Crimes, The Chase for Jefferson Davis and the Death Pageant for Lincoln's Corpse by James Swanson. This explains the propaganda that the Union had created about Jefferson Davis, and also when he was arrested, the poor conditions that he was kept in, and the doctor fought for him to not live in decrepit condition of this horrible jail cell. Okay, so I'll grab these next. Excuse me. It Wasn't About Slavery, Exposing the Great Lie of the Civil War by Samuel W. Mitchum Jr. There was a lot of information in here that I was not aware of, and I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but Prometheus and I obviously want to read both sides of the story, and of course I was indoctrinated in public school, so there's that. And Prometheus was not. Slavery was not the cause of the war between the states. The Irrefutable Arguments by Gene Kaiser Jr. And of course we're saving these books for information. The Politically Incorrect Guide to the South and Why It Will Rise Again. I think there was at least one. Let me check my orange, because you know orange means it was not good. It was regarding religion, so, yeah. And then we have some classics. Far from the Madding Crowd, and this is by Thomas Hardy, and I got this edition because so many people were talking about it. I hate it. I hate the way this feels. It's rough. It's not a pleasure. It was expensive too. I paid $24 for it, which you know if you've been shopping for a while how much hardcover books cost now. They're like $30. And the font is so tiny. Anyways, I loved the story. The edition, however, meh. And then The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. Was this the one? I'm trying to think which one was familiar, because I had read one and I'm like, I've read this before. It might be both, actually, now that I think about it. Yes, I had read both of these in high school, and I had forgotten, and then when I started reading them, parts of it were like, wait a minute, I've read this. The House of Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I had not read this one before, but I love Hawthorne's, what's the name of that thing with that creepy girl Pearl?
The Scarlet Letter.
Thank you. Okay, so The Scarlet Letter is, I'd say, one of my favorite books because of the way that it's written. Hawthorne is very subtle. If you are looking for a fast read, forget about it. If you are not wanting to think while you read, forget about it. This one, you don't get the reveal until the very, very end. This is the psychological thriller, and I loved it. It was, oh no, that was the ending. And if you weren't paying attention, you probably missed it. This was so good. I do have Scarlet Letter as well, and I think it's up there because I got rid of the edition that I had and got a better one, because I do plan on reading that. I've already read it at least twice. Yes, I know, I'm not a rereader, but I read it in high school, and then I read it for booktube, and Hawthorne is just one of those authors where the psychological thriller, I'm there. Okay, some more classics. This one I have not read since either probably 2000, 2001. Is probably when I last read this. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I don't think I read this in high school. I'm going to say no, because when I read it the other time, I knew I had seen bits and pieces of the movie, but I don't think I'd read the book before. So I liked it. I kept it. It's one of those books that is worth, it is worth a reread. Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. Bronte, I think it's Bronte. Anne is underrated. Charlotte gets all the glory, and I'm not sure why. This is one of those very subdued, like, is anything going to happen? And then something happens. Oh, wait, but the beginning, those children, psychos! I forgot about that family. Oh, no. And then I was thinking, how is she going to escape? Anyway, yes, good. And then Evelina by Frances Burney. I had read this in high school. Forgot I had read it, got my own edition, reread it. There are some parts in it that are a little over-dramatized, but it's still a good book. I liked it. And it is written epistolary style, but it's written so well that I, at least, forgot. It was like, oh yeah, it's letters. And then Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Psychological gold mine right here. This book, I read this in school. I'm pretty sure I read it in school. And then I got it for Prometheus. Let me see if this is my older kids' books. No. Oh yeah. Okay, so this one is, it was bought for my older son for high school, because I can see his annotation in it. So it's funny because I looked to see, it's like, is this my daughter's writing or is this my son's writing? And then I could tell. So then I reread it as an adult and decided this is a keeper. It's interesting when you read something in high school, your point of view, and then you read something as an adult and your point of view. Mine didn't change, but it's just more knowledgeable. Then we have Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I think this is Prometheus's book, but he wanted me to read it, so I don't know if you can technically say I'm keeping it, because I think it's his, so it's going in his box. The House of Mirth, this one is mine, by Edith Wharton. I also read this in high school, had forgot I read it in high school. I obviously enjoyed it more as an adult and was thinking, oh no, she's not going to marry him. I know that part. I remember that part. No, you're making a big mistake. And then her aunt should have taken better care of her. Should have led her a little bit and guided her. So this book, this next book, is actually Prometheus's book, but I think I stole it. Old Yeller by Fred Gibson. Coming of age story, and I mean, a boy and his dog. This dog was awesome. This dog was awesome. And yes, it's sad, but it was awesome. Anyway, Ruth by Elizabeth Gaskell. I was buddy reading this with Ahona. She recently changed her name, I think, and I will put her information down below. And I had to stop because I was getting so stressed out. And then I picked it back up and I realized I had read it before. And then once I got past the part that was stressing me out. So silly. But anyway, yes, this is a keeper. This woman, this girl who was manipulated and abused as a younger woman, and then comes into her own and takes responsibility and owns it, where the man had not until much later. And what is that, day late, dollar short type of a situation. Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope? And no, in the beginning I could not. Are you kidding me? It gets better. Anyway, so definitely another keeper. Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. I had also read this in high school. God bless my friend for keeping me in the books that she gave me were so much better than the books that my parents offered me. And so, yes, excellent keeping it. And then Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. I want to read some of her other books. I have some of her. I actually have a nonfiction book that she wrote with her sister. I want to read that. I have read some nonfiction books about Harriet Beecher Stowe, but she was a little eccentric. Just leave it at that. But I liked this book. There was an incident in here that I think was actually in the newspapers of a slave escaping, which was just phenomenal. Like, that woman, she was getting away. You were not going to stop her, and she had an infant or a young baby with her. Whoo-wee! Okay. And then, didn't I already say this one? Yes. Why do I have two? Can You Forgive Her? Why do I have two? Hang on a minute. Let me see why. Because I wanted to annotate in this one and keep this one pristine. That's why. So why am I hanging on to this one? Because I need to write my notes. That's why. Okay. And then this one. I only have two more piles and they're shorter, so that's good. Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Of course, you see all the notes. This was basically for Prometheus's high school civics class. Government class, I think. The 39 Steps by John Buchan. There was an old booktuber who recommended this book to me, and he passed away from a heart attack. And I was really hoping that it was some disgusting joke, because I know that he was getting bullied a lot on booktube. Won't mention by whom, but he had a really tough go of it, and it wasn't doing well. Anyways, things were starting to look up. He had gotten a different job. He was going to the gym. He was working out. And like I said, he was an older gentleman, but I just wonder how much of the bullying that he received had to do with his early passing. Anyway, so this has a special place in my heart for him. Then Rights of Man by Thomas Paine, again, also for Prometheus's school. This one is actually a very old one that I've had. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. This came out in 2005. Yeah, so this actually should be in that pile over there, but They Poured Fire on Us from the Sky, the true story of 3 lost boys from Sudan. I'm going to do my best to pronounce the names. Benson Dang, Eliphantine Dang and Benjamin Ajak. I'm not sure. I met, I think it was Ben. Yeah, it was Benson. So I met Benson, and it was at a Barnes and Noble, and he played a music instrument and sang a song and talked about his experience and the book and how the book happened. And I think that was one of my first introductions to the propaganda of the news media being portrayed at that time, because we were told that it was tribes fighting, and that was a lie. Straight up, that was a lie. So there's that. The Forsyte Saga by John Galsworthy. I buddy read this with another booktuber who has passed away. And yeah, I liked this book. I think she had more issues with the book than I did, but I will definitely reread this. I might have read this in high school, but I don't remember for sure. I wouldn't bet $1 on that one, maybe 50 cents. Dr. Wardle's School by Anthony Trollope. I'm trying to think. This is a slow burn, but once it gets up, it's like a roller coaster. It's like chug, 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 chug. You're kind of like, get to the top already, get to the top already, and then finally it does, and it, like all these twists and turns, and yeah, this was good. Apparently I bought it used, and it was originally from the library of Joe Lisa. And then Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain. I'm surprised I don't have any tabbies in this. I didn't even annotate in it. Who am I? I did dog ear two little pages though. Small, and it's my book. I do what I want. This one was funny. Mark Twain had a really funny sense of humor. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay, so that. Okay, and then my mother bought me this book, Caleb Powers and the Mountain Army by Mayor Jim Short. And I think she had a falling out with the author because the author, I think, was trying to use the family. Someone Knows My Name by Lawrence Hill. I've had this a long time. A long, long time. So we'll go like this. There we go. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, so I figure there are parts of this book that I still remember, that have still stuck with me, and I do not remember when I read this, but I will read it again at some point because, wow. And a baboon stealing a baby from some woman's arms, and there's a lot I still remember from this book. Go ahead. Okay, we had to reset the camera because timer ran out. Mary Called Magdalene by Margaret George. I had read this before I had read the Bible through multiple times, so I would really like to reread this and see how accurate it is. I do, if I recall correctly, Margaret George grew up in Israel, and she used to be my favorite author until I read about Nero. I'm just about throw up. So, yeah, I think how much information is in the Bible about her? Not a lot. So the fact that she was able to write a novel on this was really fascinating. I do think I want to reread it. I'm going to add that the assumption that she was a streetwalker is fabricated. It never says that anywhere in the Bible. She was, however, possessed by evil spirits that were removed. I think the number was 7. So this is also an older book that I have had. Fire in the Blood by Irene Nemirovsky. I think I read this in 2005, 2006, 2007 maybe. I don't even know if I would read this and think the same about it, but when I read it, and it is a slow burn, when I read it the first time, it impacted me enough to keep it, which I had originally, before I started booktube, I had 5 books that I had saved. 5! And now, look, have you been keeping track? How many? This is the last book, According to Mary Magdalene by Mary Ann Fredrickson. Now here's what's so weird. I don't remember this one at all. I don't recall this one. This is interesting. What is this? Ooh. Yeah, we'll be throwing that away. Maybe I didn't read it and I just put it in that box. I don't know. We'll set this up here because I don't remember reading that. I don't remember nothing about that book, which is odd. Okay, so that's what I've kept, and I want to thank Cheryl at Candlewick Library. I will leave her information down below because she is the one that inspired this video. So I hope you all had a good time watching. If you have any opinions about any of these books, be kind, leave a comment down below, or just say hello. Or, leave an emoji. Bye.